This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and things you struggle with most so you can have more energy and less decision fatigue about what to eat, how to move, and you can change your thoughts to flip 50 with the life and the energy you love in this second half. And today I'm joined with Abby from Annmarie Skincare. Abby, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let me tell you a little bit about Abby before we all dive in. Abby is a licensed esthetician as well as wholesale account manager for Annmarie Skincare, one of my very favorite lines. At Annmarie, she nurtures all wholesale accounts with independent contractors and spas, integrative health and wellness centers, fitness and yoga studios, boutiques, natural markets, and online retailers. Additionally, she handles all product training for staff members and offers ongoing education for customers. Her life's purpose is to educate and inspire people to feel beautiful through self-care rituals. I love it. Abby, all right. You know, I love Annmarie Skincare. And just for all of you listening, Annmarie Skincare has been good enough and generous enough to gift all of our Flipping 50 TV guest questions. Those applicants actually got full-size trio of Annmarie Skincare products. And I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten back about, I love this, thank you, thank you. And I too am such a fan. So we're going to dive right into all things related to, at Flipping 50, we talk so much about hormone balance through the right exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress, which is really kind of the path we're going down today, where we have to consider the air we breathe, the food and the water we drink, and what we put on our skin, our largest organ. So for women, that involves, when I think about the number of products within that hour of getting ready in the morning that go into my skin, that's a lot of products on our skin, either helping or hurting our health. So you're here to spread a little intel, right, Abby?
Yeah, of course.
So let's start with this, because I think we know enough to be dangerous, but what specifically are we looking for? If we're reading ingredient labels, what are some harmful ingredients found in our personal care products that can affect our hormones?
Sure. So I like to just start minimal here because it can be overwhelming, given that there are thousands of chemicals on the market that aren't even being tested by the FDA. So I think as a consumer, it's very important to grow your knowledge base, but also consistently research and just be more empowered with education and being able to really truly understand ingredients and like learning how to read labels. So I have a few resources that I like to first recommend. The EWG, of course, is a great resource. It has tens and thousands of products in their database. So if at any point you're overwhelmed with the ingredients on a label and you can't understand what they are or what they do, or if they serve any purpose whatsoever, you can type in that product name or even the brand, and EWG gives a rating and it goes into all the harmful and potential harmful ingredients in that product.
Super helpful. I love that. Could you spell that out? Or is that ewg.org?
Yeah, ewg.org. And then we have the Skin Deep database.
Awesome.
And then another app I like to recommend, and this is more for like on the go, is the Think Dirty app. So if you're in a grocery store, you can just look up the product in your app. I believe you can actually even scan the product now, and it will give you all of the intel. And that's just an easy way to do it. But just off the top of my head, some ingredients that I personally like to avoid, parabens, of course. Thankfully, a lot of companies are removing parabens. They've been banned in Europe and other countries for quite some time. But parabens have a lot of, they're endocrine disrupting. They're found in shampoos, deodorants, lotions, body washes, and all types of other skincare. The number one thing that is the most concerning for me is fragrance.
Yes.
Fragrance often there's this weird loophole with fragrance where you don't actually have to list what's in that fragrance. And there can be up to 3,000 or more chemicals in a fragrance. It's sort of like an alias.
Okay. So this is a tough one. Can we talk about this? And I think I've been afraid to ask this question. So for a girl who loves her perfume, are we saying really that's not a good thing?
So I live by the 80-20 rule in life.
Okay.
I don't want to overwhelm myself to the point of, oh my gosh, I have to be in a bubble. And I think with a lot of perfumes, I personally can't handle a chemical perfume. Just it gives me a headache.
Mm-hmm.
But for like a tried and true smell, and you want it, and that's your aroma, I would just recommend not spraying it directly on your skin. Maybe like spraying it in the air and like putting your shirt, just so that it's not going directly on the skin. And for me, it's concerning because a lot of women will spray perfume right like on their thyroid gland.
Yes,
and it's
right.
It's like there, and that's a little bit like if you're doing it every day, long-term exposure at a small amount, it's still accumulating in the body. And there's phthalates in fragrance, which are also endocrine disrupting, and then just so many chemicals. It's like you really don't know what you're putting on, inhaling throughout the day, but mostly just going directly into your bloodstream because you're spraying it on your skin.
Yeah, great comments. And I love that. And so for any of you listening, and I know some of you are actually health professionals, so we've got a good following of both consumers who use personal trainers who exercise in the public with groups. And frequently, for as long as I was a personal training director, I would have this discussion. And this was 10 years ago with my personal trainers who wore really strong cologne. And I would say, you have to stop that because we have people who are so much more sensitive today and we need to be aware of it. So by all means, from your side, consumers, if you're listening and you know that really bothers you, then don't be afraid to ask, because even fitness professionals are becoming a little bit more aware that they have this close proximity to their customers and they've got to be conscious of it. So great intel. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any other certain chemicals or things that we should look for in either makeup or cleansers?
Cosmetics definitely are of high concern. Also, just because the average woman, uses an average of 12 to 14 products per day.
Yes.
And even though when you look at an ingredient list and you see like a paraben at the very end and you're like, oh, it can't be that harmful because it's a very minute amount. But given that the consistency of use and you're using it long term, once again, that accumulation can be concerning, and we don't really know what's happening in the body. So the average woman can use anywhere up to like 500 chemicals a day in her self-care products.
500? Wow.
I mean, that was a recent study done in the UK. But fortunately, if you're into clean beauty, that, your exposure can be very minimal. I don't like to overwhelm people on how to like switch from conventional to natural, but I think if you were to choose 2 or 3 products to start,
Mm-hmm.
I would say eliminate the products that are maybe being used the most or that have the most coverage on the body. So think like a body lotion, you would want to swap out first because it's covering your entire body. Maybe a body wash as well. And then, of course, makeup, because I know that can be applied frequently. There's several different products going into that process. So those would be my high concern products. And then over time, switching out maybe like your eye cream, because if you think about it, it's just a small amount of product being used, but you get the picture. Like
definitely, yeah. Or even so makeup, which you'd put on and you wear for hours and hours. But what about like skin cleansers and that moisturizer you're going to put on first thing in the morning and last thing at night? So frequency there too, right?
Sure. Okay. Say like if you were to switch to completely all natural products, to not overwhelm yourself, make this based off of what is being applied in larger amounts.
Yeah. And preaching to the choir here, I hope, right? You're exercising regularly, listeners. Maybe right now you're walking, if not commuting, but that also, to someone who's very active, throws in another shower quite often. For me, I know it does regularly. So it's like another application, another cleansing. So, be thinking that you're doing so many healthy things for yourself. Don't forget about this little detail.
Yeah, and with showering, your pores are opening up and you're allowing for greater absorption. So like I said, with the body wash, it's definitely a product that I would want to switch out while transitioning to cleaner products. Another concern too for me is sunscreen. We oftentimes resort to those conventional brands just because they're convenient, but oxybenzone is one of the main chemical ingredients in conventional sun care products, even in baby formulas, which is mind-boggling to me, because oxybenzone is not only is it destroying like the reefs in Australia, but it's a very harmful endocrine disruptor as well.
Wow.
And so these sprays that I can't even imagine like how much, it just seems so uncontrollable. Like the sprays that are like how much chemicals are in those bottles, and then they're just being sprayed consistently throughout the day. Like if you're at the beach with your kids, I actually had my sister-in-law change out her sunscreens on my nephews because they're in the sun like several times a week, and I was like, you can't be spraying banana boat on their body.
Oops, I think we just threw somebody under the bus, but oh well.
I think I changed the name.
And so true though. I think it's like habit gravity in a lot of other ways that we keep going back to the thing that's familiar, even though we've got a little hint that that's really probably not great, but it's like habit, and it's tradition almost. Maybe it's what you used. So this is your kick, guys, to make a change, and do something. So it's oxybenzone that we want to be looking for. Okay.
Yeah, oxybenzone.
Awesome. So save the reefs in Australia and yourself. Okay, great. All right. So I've got a question, and this is somewhat selfish, possibly because I've moved from the Midwest, a little bit more humid environment, to the mountains where it's a little bit more dry, and I did it at a time when I was 49. So, there was probably hormone changes going on, but how do you care for skin that is suddenly both blemish prone again and is experiencing signs of aging? I mean, how is that a 2-for-1 anybody signs up for? What can we do about it?
That's definitely one of the most common questions.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel like there's cycles of women that are getting, and men, but mostly women, just because of hormone disruption, like in your early 20s or even late 20s, and then again in like early 40s, late 40s. Like I feel like those two times kind of those concerns are at an all-time high. I think the best solution is, because we're told that if you have blemish-prone skin, you want to resort to products that are going to like dry out and like, strip all of your oil so that you don't produce more. And it sort of creates this reckless cycle because you start migrating to products that are actually drying and stripping the skin rather than nourishing and balancing. And so we have at Annmarie focus on a lot of our formulations are great for all skin types. And I think our serums are all targeted for age defying and preventative aging. Our anti-aging serum is a wonderful solution for having blemish prone skin, but also wanting to address signs of aging because it's a nice aloe base formula with a lot of soothing and calming botanicals. Rose distillate is wonderful. So if you have any concerns around blemishes, I think that you want to be looking for ingredients that help clear impurities from the skin, but at the same time provide nourishment. So not, steering away from alcohols or harsh detergents that are found in cleansers. You want to be using pH balanced cleansers that can, not compromise the skin's pH in any way. And using oils. And I know that that's concerning for people who have oily or blemish prone skin because they're told not to use oil.
And especially the listeners you're talking to, right? I mean, we all grew up completely, under the influence of, no, oily skin, oil's bad, dry out. And I was totally one of them. Even at 49, when I was having all of this issue and somebody said, here you go, this is the answer. I'm like, what? Are you sure? Are you crazy?
No, it took me a while too. And growing up, my brother had not great skin and he was using like really harsh, like benzoyl peroxide. And it was like in middle school, I was so scared that I was like going to start breaking out. So I just started washing my face with all of this benzoyl peroxide for no reason. My skin was fine, but like over time that really compromises the skin. And so in my early 20s, I'm 29 now, but when I got my aesthetics license and learned about skincare for the first time and like actually being able to create a customized routine for me, I realized that oils were the answer for me. I mean, everyone's different, but I truly feel that oils are great for all skin types because we naturally produce oil. So therefore it's our skin like registers that as being able to like receive moisture. Versus putting on like cream or like things that have waxes and fillers that just kind of sit on the surface of the skin.
Yeah, I was amazed. I was really just amazed at how quickly my skin just settled down and how much better it felt from using those old benzoyl peroxide and what do we tend to do if there's a choice between 5 and 10 and you want immediate results, if you're type A, you go for the 10%. So it's really bad. It's really drying things out. But my skin was so soothed and settled down so quickly using the oil. It takes like 5 minutes and you're a convert.
For sure. And they're very balancing. And if you have blemish prone skin and you're stripping your skin, you're stripping away the natural oils, which lubricate your skin in a way. And that actually help to soften those like fine lines and wrinkles. So oil can balance the oil, but at the same time moisturize and hydrate the skin so that you're eliminating the appearance of, those signs of aging.
And within your line at Annmarie, you do still have, so you have an oil for, oilier skin, drier skin, and I'm going to get it wrong. So I'm going to let you describe, but yeah, tell me what those lines are so that no matter what, normal, there's an oil though for each one, right? Appropriate
Yeah, our oils, they're actually quite easy to remember because they're named for the
Perfect.
skin type they're formed for. So there's the anti-aging facial oil, and that is for dry, mature skin. It has a jojoba oil base. Jojoba oil is a very rich oil. It's actually not an oil at all, like molecularly. It's actually a ester, a wax, but and it behaves like a wax on the skin, but it's like in an oil consistency. So it's a little heavier. That's why it's more suitable for drier, mature skin. But then we have our herbal facial oil for normal and combination skin, and then our herbal facial oil for oily skin, and then we have an herbal facial oil for sensitive skin. And those three oils are in a base of grapeseed. And grapeseed oil is a very light, fine, textured oil, so it absorbs really quickly, and it's very rich in vitamin E. So for anyone that with like skin sensitivities can benefit from it. And then our oils, in addition to our base oils, we infuse herbs into all of our facial oils. So each formula has a nice infusion of herbs formulated for anti-aging benefits, clearing and cleaning the skin of impurity. So like an oily skin oil, and then also like calming and soothing botanicals. But the herbs add a lot of nutrient density to the formula. So oils alone are already wonderful. Like if you just were to use a carrier oil as a moisturizer, great. There's so much nutrients already in the oil, but then we take the extra step and infuse a variety of herbs. So then you're getting all the antioxidants and plant nutrients in addition to
And
those
let's not
basic.
forget the other thing that, when I open a new product, it's the aromatherapy. It's almost like stress relief in a bottle. I mean,
For sure.
I love it. It's just like, okay, yeah. I'm hooked, I'm in.
Each one has their own essential oil blend, and it's pretty minimal. The anti-aging facial oil has like a jasmine and rose essence, and then the other ones have like sandalwood, frankincense, some citrus notes, and then the unscented one, our herbal facial oil for sensitive skin, is no essential oils added. So those, for anyone sensitive to aroma, that would be a great option.
Love that. Okay, so we're talking to a group of people that obviously, I want all of our listeners to be as active as possible, and so much healthier to be outdoors and active if possible, to bike, to walk, to swim, to choose your recreation. But all the elements, the sun, the wind, the temperature is either high or low, that can cause some problems. How can we calm the look of temporary redness or blotchiness that's caused by harsh elements or exercise, even chlorine exposure for those of us who are swimmers?
For sure. Yeah, I like how you mentioned chlorine because that is often overlooked. But I'm terrified of going into hot tubs, and it just feels so drying, and like it's just the most alkaline and stripping. It's really it's hard. But with the elements, I think the best thing and the most important is sun protection, of course. So I know some people have a lot of sun sensitivity, or if you're more fair, you're going to your skin will be more compromised than someone who has maybe more melanin in their skin, like deeper, darker shades that can actually be in the sun and not be affected. So I think wearing a sun protection formula, we have one that's called Sun Love. It is a zinc oxide, non-nano. And zinc oxide is one of the best minerals in sunscreens. It's UVA and UVB protectant. And it does, with any type of mineral sunscreen, you definitely have to reapply. So I would recommend, even when you are wearing sunscreen, to always put like a hat on or a scarf and add additional protection. Because if you're sweating And like you said, like if you're in the water, that's going to, the sunscreen is going to come off. So I always recommend applying sun protection, natural sun protection, every hour on the hour. I always wear a hat or some scarf around my head, sunglasses. But with like chlorine, like you said, that can really strip the skin and compromise the pH of the skin and cause a lot of sensitivities. So I think ways to help with the look of temporary redness is to be using, like when I was giving treatments, when I was a practicing esthetician, I would always, a lot of people would be sensitive to the steam during the treatment and their skin would get red. And I would do cold compresses. And so there's a lot of essential oils that you could put like a drop or two on like a nice cool towel or washcloth, or even like paper towels, and just pat and leave on the skin for a couple of minutes. I love chamomile. Chamomile is amazing for calming sensitivity. Geranium, sandalwood, rose, or lavender. Lavender is amazing as well. We, like I said earlier about our anti-aging serum, there's a rose distillate in it. So for anyone that does have, temporary redness in their skin, I love recommending the anti-aging serum because it really helps to soothe.
Oh, nice. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. And then with the body, so the chlorine, just making sure after any type of chlorine exposure, I know we can get carried away in the hot tub for hours, and the next thing you know, then you're just screwed. Rubbing your body, like rubbing a nice body lotion or oil, just like infusing that moisture again to prevent any
great tip. Love that one. Love the essential oils as well. Awesome. Okay. So many good tips. I've got a couple questions for you. So we're talking about exercise, and some of us are actually swimming laps, not necessarily in the hot tub, by the way. But I want to ask you, so what do you do for exercise? Yeah.
Like,
what's your workout choice?
I love that you're asking this because it's so funny because I'm going to a wedding next month. It's my best friend's wedding, and all year round I always like there's always some event where I have to like work up to like get in shape. And I realize I actually really love working out. And so this week I've been doing Barry's boot camp, and I do this other high intensity workout called base camp. And they're just like, it's a lot of cycling and a lot of like floor exercises with different weight training. And then I do cycling. I do Soul Cycle. There's these amazing stairs by my house called Lion Street Steps in San Francisco. It has this beautiful view of the bay. And so I'll often run those. But I realized this week today I have berries, and it's been about 5 days this week I've worked out, and I feel amazing and I have so much energy. And I think that like, if you just are consistent with exercise, you don't actually have to work ultra hard to make that goal. So when all these events year round, I'm just naturally meeting the goal because I'm consistent.
Love that. What a plug. So true. One of the things I love to say is, of all the things you're looking at, how hard or how often or how long should I go? Really, of all those, consistency is your best friend. Totally. So you couldn't have said it better. Okay. So I want to ask you this too, because you are like the inside scoop. So of all the Annmarie skincare products, do you have a favorite?
I have several favorites. And if I had to pick one, I would say that my favorite is the herbal facial oil for normal and combination skin. I love the smell. It's very neutral, and I feel like it's unisex. So a lot of like our male customers also love it. And again, like oil is just my favorite skincare ritual. It's just that finishing step, and it just feels so luxurious. And I feel like that's where I get the most
Awesome.
incredible.
Well, I'm going to have to take your word for it on that because I'm an anti-aging facial oil girl myself, but love that. And for listeners, by the way, if you're trying to find, okay, what's your, zone, where do you need to be among all of the options? There's an easy way to do it. And I've got a link to a way you can get samples. Super easy, just paying for shipping and it's on its way to you. And then you get this really cool coupon that makes it free. So if you love it, and just a disclaimer, you're going to love it. So, it'll take $10 off your first order. So I will put that link in the show notes, by the way. So be sure to do that. And then Abby, I have one last question that I ask everybody. And that is there a question that you wish I would have asked you to all our listeners who are flipping 50? Is there something they should know we didn't talk about?
I would just say, I know a lot of people ask, where do I start? Or how do I get started? And this makes it easy because, again, Annmarie Skincare is online and this is a great introduction. But sometimes a skincare line won't work for someone. But I do encourage, just when you are shopping and looking for a line, just making sure that you're doing research on the companies. Look for things like transparency. Look for conscious business practices that those companies are doing and offering. Are they educational? Are they guiding their customers to a place where they are feeling empowered in their decisions and choices? Those are things I just look for. It's no different from when you're shopping organic at the supermarket. Your skincare products should definitely be in that same area of self-care overall. So I just wish everyone, good luck on
their great tip. Great tip. And actually, I'm going to top that. So not in competition, but Abby probably wouldn't have said this, but I can say this from an outsider. Just looking in, Annmarie Skincare is so much more than a skincare line. When you mention transparency, it's, I love that it's a family-owned business. I love that, Annmarie, the owner and developer, has boundaries on her time because family is really important and she's raising a young family. And I also love that every single customer service person I've come in contact with loves their job and it shows. So, that says a lot about the business. And I think we all today want to do business with, people we know, like, and trust. And I can certainly say that you are an exemplary, type of a business for women who care about that. So thanks so much for being who you are and for being here today.
Thank you.
And listeners, if you have a question about your skin, about choosing correctly, leave it below the show link at flipping50.com. Join us on the Flipping 50 TV Facebook page. And to get all the juicy resources that Abby shared today and the links mentioned, just visit today's episode at flipping50.com/podcast. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a rating in iTunes. It really helps. And then share this with a friend to surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. What are you waiting for? Start Flipping 50 today.